All right, happy Monday, Inspire Beauty, and happy March 1st. It's the triple threat. I know y'all saw either my post in the sisterhood about it or my post on my feed today about it, but it is the triple threat. It is a fresh day. Well, it's not so fresh anymore. Let's shake it off and pretend like it's a fresh day. It's a fresh start for your Monday. It's also a fresh week, and it's a fresh month. The quadruple threat happens every once in a while too, and that's when it's a fresh year. What? A Monday on a first with a new year. Didn't happen this year, but that happens sometimes too. And it's like, it's time to give people permission, right? Whenever I see that, it's like, wow, like all of a sudden it's not just this, like the stars are aligning that I'll wait for Monday and like, here I go. Or, I'll just wait for a fresh day or a fresh invite or a fresh month to get started. Like it's literally all aligning on one day. So why the heck not? This applies to your business as well. This applies to your business as well. This applies to, I love how Autumn, she said it twice now, and it hits me when she says this because it sticks so much with me. The line that how you show up to this is how you show up to everything. How you show up to the one thing is how you show up to everything. So I want you to consider, how are you showing up tonight? Do you show up to team calls with energy and enthusiasm and excitement? And I know, oh my gosh, I know that at this point in your day, it might be already 8 p.m. where you are, or oh gosh, not 8 p.m., 7 p.m. if you're on the East Coast, right? Or getting to the end part of your work day or whatever, and you just want to wind down and you're tired from Monday. And I get that. You can still show up with enthusiasm and you can still show up with excitement, because this is that one piece of the puzzle where you get to create it. You get to create what you crave, and you get to just keep riding the momentum of that. But yeah, how you do show up to the one thing truly is it's a precursor to how you show up to everything, right? And so let's be a tribe of women that just show up authentically, that show up with light, that show up with joy and passion for the things that we're doing. I am going to kick off with sharing my screen. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to kick off a couple announcements that I want to make sure that you are telling your people about, telling your coaches about, but also just on your calendar as well. Team Cup and Team Challenge just finished. They just announced, though, that if you missed out on the Tier 1 prize, meaning you didn't hit Success Club in February, maybe you were so close or it was on your radar, it just didn't pan out, either that, or if your team was gunning for the Tier 2 prize, which all 5 Team Cup members would need to have hit Success Club together in that month, and then you would have gotten that hoodie. If either of those were on your radar, they're giving us a second chance to win those again in March. So number one, there's that. Number two, make sure you get your points to your Team Cup captains of the team challenge so that I can get all the totals out. I don't have all the totals just yet, and so I can't announce the winner. There are prizes included. We haven't even told you anything about that, right? You're just doing this because you wanted to, but there are prizes for the team that had the most amount of points, as well as prizes for, this is also secret, we haven't even shared this yet, you didn't even know, prizes for who had the most points on their team, captains excluded. Yeah. So pretty exciting, because even if you're not on the winning team, you showing up in February is about to get rewarded. Tomorrow, there's a new coach kickoff call. I know a lot of us just brought on some new teammates, and when we talked about onboarding, even Amanda talked about onboarding recently and all the things, we talked about not overwhelming our new coaches. So tomorrow is a new coach kickoff call. But that sweet spot where I love new coaches, it's not just new coaches, right? Like one and done, like, oh, they're new, let me invite them and then never talk to them again. No, this is for new/newer coaches. So if it's a coach on your team that has been rocking 9-week control freak, and you're like, you need to start like sharing with others, right? This is a call they should be on. If they are brand new, they can know about it. But I also want you to think back, who on your team could benefit from maybe being around other coaches, just building the foundations of their business this month together. So after our new coach kickoff call, what I want to do is this month, because our Project Elevate crew is done, that was kind of like our coach basics, our new coach training sort of thread for the first 2 months of the year, was that. Now we're shifting into every month is going to be a monthly coach thread for new coaches, newer coaches who are going through Coach University together. Yeah. And so I want, let's kind of think of like class of 2021. So I want you to make sure that your people are invited to that call tomorrow and that they know about that call tomorrow, and they don't have to be brand spanking new. They can be, but definitely extend that out. The other thing that's happening is this month is a diamond push month. We don't get those very often on our team, but this month is one. And it kicks off next week, March 8th. I am the speaker that will kick off next week talking about reverse engineering your goals and getting all that set up. But then you don't have to hear from me anymore for the other 5 weeks. You're going to be poured into from other leaders in the network, and it's just going to be so, so good. The only requirement, my friends, is that you are an Emerald coach when you wake up on Thursday. This Thursday. I know I spoke wrong about that, incorrect about that the last time I said this, but true, that's because in my mind I thought it was starting on March 1st. It's starting March 8th, next Monday. So you need to just be Emerald, meaning some of you just need one more coach, or some of you need to get a coach active that's inactive, or whatever that looks like. Even if it's 2 coaches, you can freaking do it. Right now we have 12 people that are going to be a part of that. So why not you? Right? Like, that's an insane number for me. So I'm excited about that. So that's what's coming down the pipeline. Enough with that. Let me share the screen and get going on tonight. So let me move us over here and move this, see if that works. Okay. So before I get into this VIP experience that I'm going to share with you guys, and VIP stands for something, we're going to get into that. It's going to be so, so good. And I hope that you leave tonight just with a new lens for how you want to approach your social media this month and moving forward. Social media is always evolving, and always, I'm always adjusting and tweaking and looking at my brand and looking at my voice and looking at my followers and looking at, what's working and what's not working. And so I'm constantly learning social media. So if you're sitting on this call tonight and you're like, I stink at social media, cool, we all do, because it's always evolving and always growing, and we always have to kind of, in a sense, keep up with what's happening, right? And stay abreast to trends and things like that. And so tonight we're going to kind of talk through some things that I believe are really crucial for all of us on social media right now. But before we do that, I love doing this, especially after a Team Cup month, is I want to look back real quick, and I want to pause for a moment. I don't think we do this enough, where we pause and appreciate what we've accomplished since the new year. Now, I could easily say February, but I think you've probably done amazing things since the clock struck midnight on 2021. So I want to just go through a list of like what I know you've done. I know you've done that. And if you're on this call right now or listening to the recording, I have no doubt in my mind that I could pinpoint an opportunity where you've done that. I know you've shown up over and over again. I know you've learned about where you're strong, and I also know you've learned simultaneously where you have weaknesses. I know that you've gotten specific at what you desire. It's in there, it's on your heart. And I know that you know what you need to do to get there. You've opened yourself up like a freaking, look at my heart, right? To failure and to criticism. Because if you're out there doing the bold work and you're in the arena like I am, if you're in the arena with me, you are going to fail. You are going to criticize or get criticized, right? Shoot, you might even criticize yourself. You've opened yourself up to that. And that is impressive, because very, very few people do that. You've positioned yourself, though, because you've allowed yourself to fail and to get back up and to face criticism or naysayers or anything like that. You've also positioned yourself for success, because the pendulum swings both ways, my friends. It swings one way towards failure, and most people say, I don't like that, and so they want to swing backwards, but that's not how it works. You have to experience the failure so you can learn from it and swing backwards towards success. They go hand in hand together. And once you start, when you unlock that is both a part of this beautiful journey, there's no stopping you. What stops people is they hit failure and they think they're going the wrong way, so they go right back to where they came from. Not you. You've also taken responsibility in this new year so far for your health and your happiness. That's impressive. You've decided to create what you crave. We keep talking about this idea of creating what you crave, right? Don't just look at it. Don't just compare your life to what you crave so desperately, but sit down every day and create it for yourself. You found joy in the journey. You're trying new things and trying them again and tweaking them and trying them again. You're doing that. You've gotten uncomfortable, and that's so, so good for your growth. And you've shown that you believe in yourself simply by being on this call, by being a part of this team, by diving into Team Cup Month, by doing the team challenge. You've shown that in some way, there's, even if it's a tiny glimmer, that you do believe in yourself. She's in there. And that every day when you choose to show up, you love yourself enough to do it. So in the chat right now, I want you to drop, what are you most proud of from February? I know we kind of shared it as we were wrapping up Team Challenge and, you know, all these things. And it's easy to be modest. It really is. This is not an opportunity for that. This is not a community for that. I want you to humbly brag about what you're most proud of from your personal February. And if it's really February and January combined, then please shout it from the rooftops. Yes, weekly Zoom workouts. Genius, Andrea. Genius. She started hosting those, and they've just been like the snowball movement, right? Where it just starts gaining and gaining and gaining down the hill. Giving myself grace. Yes. And learning that. Not enough people know about that word. Stepping outside of my comfort zone. Nicolette, you have been phenomenal to watch your growth. It's so cool. You sold your first ever, not just a challenge pack, Amanda, don't miss it, a deluxe challenge pack. Hello. And for what it's worth, I use the supplements. That's my stack that's in a deluxe. So why wouldn't I recommend all of the above, right? That's so cool. Ashley, showing up when it got hard. Absolutely. Absolutely. And getting uncomfortable talking on your IG stories. We're going to talk about that tonight. I love that you said that. Continuing, Annie, to show up despite mental health barriers. Yes, and amen, as well as sharing my journey. It's so important. We heard on the National Wake Up Call, especially, we don't just want the pretty shiny. People need to know that you can relate to them. Having a coach who wants to work her business on your Team Cup. And Leah, you no longer can say no one wants to work this business. I love that. Continuing to be uncomfortable with your workouts and not quitting. And hello, I'm glad you said your podcast, because I would have called you out on that, and you know it. Consistency looks good on you, Tiffany. It really does, my friend. I'm so proud of you. Showing up, inviting people. Yes, Kelly even posted how, like, okay, I wish I would have done it sooner, because there's people who want to join, and like we're at that point where they might want to join, and I kick myself. I should have invited them a week ago, right? Mandy, yes, pushing yourself. I've loved watching you show up, Mandy, on social media, especially helping my coach start to work her business and not giving up on hitting SC. Guys, Kristen was at SC4 when the weekend hit. She doubled that and was at 8 by the time the weekend was over. And so many of you guys did similar things and really made moves over the last weekend. I loved how you finished February. You guys finished incredibly. So on that note, let's get into a new month. Let's get into a new mindset, right? It is a new month, but I put this on the team page yesterday. Same vision. Your vision's still alive. It didn't die. Maybe the vision's expanding. Maybe it's getting bigger now as you're growing and evolving. You're like, wow, actually my vision was too small before. So it's a new month, same vision, but maybe a different method. Maybe if something wasn't working for you in February, let's find ways to tweak and adjust and try again in March. So tonight we're going to talk about the VIP experience, and VIP stands for value, intention, and personality. So let me slide this. I'm constantly having to navigate this. I hope you guys can see this whole thing. Are you able to, Kristen? Yeah. Okay, cool. I can see your face nodding. All right, value. So value is huge, because when we're building relationships, it truly comes through the value we get. People will follow you based on what you're giving them. And if you're no longer giving them that thing, don't be afraid or shocked if they don't follow you. It's okay. People, if they wanted to follow somebody who did beautiful, I don't know, I don't even know why I'm saying this, but if they wanted to follow somebody who's like a really talented puzzle builder, and maybe there was a season during quarantine that I was like really making puzzles and using a lot of hashtags talking about puzzles, and they're like, oh, I want to follow her. She talks all about puzzles. But then all of a sudden I stopped talking about puzzles because it's like, I'm not really important. I'm not really into that anymore. And I'm really focusing on my health and wellness. And I shift gears and I talk about Beachbody or my health journey or whatever, right? Healthy recipes and this and that. I don't have the same value for that person anymore. So when I lose followers, it's fun. I lose followers all the time, you guys. The other day, somebody was like, wow, Brittany, you have so many followers. Like an old friend, a throwback friend came into my inbox and was like, she had like circled, she took a screenshot, like, this is amazing. She took a screenshot, she circled how many followers I had, came into my inbox and shared the screenshot and said, I'm just so proud of like that I know you, you're my friend, and like we went way back and da 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 da, and you have so many followers. And I laughed to her. I sent her a voice note back. I said, I really appreciate that. You're amazing. I said, but I just lost like 20 followers today. Today I lost 20 followers. For the life of me, I'm not sure why. What I said, what I did, were they bots? I don't know. And I said, so it's so funny that you saw that number is big, because I saw that number is small, right? And so the value, though, if I lose followers, I'm not as offended as I used to be, or upset. Like I used to take it very personal, like, oh, I lost a follower, I must suck, people must not like me. And what I learned was that this is data. This is just data. Losing followers can actually be a good thing, because I don't want people who don't want the value I'm giving, right? I want people on my platform who need what I have. So a question you can ask yourself is, how do you plan, or how do you navigate providing value to your customers online? And I want you to start thinking about social media, if you don't yet, as like a storefront. Okay, when I first started, that was a big shift I had to make, that my social media wasn't really Brittany, it was now what I was selling. It was my store, it was my team, it was my boot camps, right? It was my free groups, it was my health journey, it was inspiring people, it was that. So if I, for example, was having a really bad day and it was all about an upcoming election, that wasn't really on brand to go talk about that on my social, because that's not really what my social media followers follow me for, right? Do you understand? So like, I used to post a lot of things that were not really on brand with what I was doing. And so when I'm talking about providing value to your customers, you might not be at that headspace yet where you're thinking about your social media as a storefront. But I want to challenge you to start thinking about it that way, because it takes the transactions of things like invites and growing your network and whatever. It takes all of that and puts a lot less stress and emphasis on, do they like me? And puts it on, am I getting the return that I want? Meaning, am I getting new people joining me? Are people joining my team? Are people joining my boot camps? Are people finding value? Okay, so think about this. When you go to post, I want you to think, is it entertaining? I think of the 3 E's. Is it entertaining? Is it educational? Is it encouraging? That's kind of the bracket I keep stuff in. And entertaining doesn't have to necessarily mean like you're laughing, like it's like a TikTok dog video. God, I love those. They're so cool. I just want to, in my next life, you guys, I'm going to come back and I'm just going to do TikTok dog videos. I'm going to figure out how to do like that voiceover thing with Frankie. It's going to be so good. We're going to go viral. It's just not my brand right now. Do you see what I'm talking about? Brand, right? Like, it's very obvious that someone decided somewhere to make a brand out of their dog and make it viral on TikTok, right? That's not my brand. So I might share it because it's funny, but I'm not going to, you're not going to see me like try to start doing that on my page, because all of a sudden the people who came to me for inspiration and health and recipes, they're gonna be like, wait a second, that's not the value I wanted from you, right? So I think about that. So you provide value in a lot of ways. And right now you might not think you do, but yes, you freaking do. You fill needs. So your free groups are value. Every recipe you share is value. If you give tutorials, what do you love to do? Like, what are you good at? Yesterday, I did a time lapse of switching out my winter decorations into like more of a spring vibe. And so that was kind of a tutorial, for example, right? What are you good at? Maybe I think of like Kristen, she makes steel dog biscuits all the time, like homemade dog biscuits. What? Frankie's not even that spoiled. That's a great tutorial for her brand. Annie is a teacher. And so tutorials on how she styles herself for work, if that's her jam, or tutorials on how she does a bulletin board. I don't know, do you even do those in COVID anymore? I don't know. Right, like, I don't know, but tutorials on things that are part of your brand. Freemiums. What a freemium is, it would be like creating something like a PDF, right? And going on Canva and creating something for free that you can give to people. So for example, the meal plans that I have every week, that's a freemium that I could easily give to somebody that's valuable, but I can just give it to you for free. It's a PDF, give it to you for free, right? Sharing what you like and found. So when I do my grocery hauls, that's value. Encouraging others too in their journey is also filling a need. Okay, so I want you to think about, how can you fill needs based on what you are good at doing and what you love to talk about. Answering questions is how you provide value too. So I want you to think about your people. Think about the people that follow you, right? And also think about the ideal person that you want to follow, because maybe you have followers, but they're not really your ideal people, or you're still trying to gather more ideal customers and followers, right? The people who truly need what you have to say. What do they need to know, or what would they like to know? And then answer that. Okay, so a lot of times, my followers, they want to know stuff about meal planning and meal prepping. They want to know what a new find at Trader Joe's is like. They want to know about some of my vegetarian things that I do, like how to do tofu crispy on the skillet, because they're thinking about it, thinking about trying tofu, and it's, nasty when it's mushy. So things like that are simple ways that you can answer questions for people. And then entertainment, simply just making someone's day is valuable. Entertainment can also be like a form of encouragement too. So, I try to add in, like, if I share another piece of encouragement from someone else's page, maybe there's a quote that stood out to me today or something, I can put that into my story or whatever and add value to their day. Anything that keeps them coming back to you is valuable. I want your followers to know that it's you before they know it's you. Does that make sense? Can you think of someone on social media right now that before you even read that it's them, that because of their picture or because of their colors or their aesthetic, you know it's them before you know it's them? I can think of some, right? I can think of some brands that I know of. I can think of some like podcasters that I love to listen to, that I can tell it's them before it's them. And that's how I want you to be to your people. Okay, let's talk about intention. The second part. Are you showing up intentionally on social media? I can tell you, in the beginning, I just threw spaghetti at the wall and I hoped it stuck. I'd go on Pinterest and I would look for any quote that seemed like it was inspiring, because I did not feel like I was a very inspiring person at that time in my life. And I would just slap the quote up and walk away. And that worked until it didn't. Okay. Nowadays, I have to be way more intentional about the way I show up on social media. So we do this all the time. Every month, we walk through what is our focus for the next month, right? And so right now, sitting at the top of a fresh month, you should have some sort of clarity around what you're offering. Right? I know this month I'm talking about movement and mindset, because we're doing a mindset like makeover in my sisterhood. I'm also focusing on my results of 9-week control freak and finishing a program. It's not even so much the results that I'm focusing on. I am truly focusing on keeping promises to yourself, because I think that's important. I don't think people talk about that enough. The gift of completion, that's a focus of mine. I'm also focusing on what's next, because I know people are going to wonder, well, what's she doing after this? I already have a game plan. You know why I have a game plan? Because I have the tools in front of me, right? And I got the community around me. So I can then shift my focus onto clean eating with the ultimate reset for 3 weeks. So that's my focus for the month. But then we want to break it down. What's your focus for the week? And every week I give us a suggested weekly focus. You do not have to go off of what I suggest. I'm just telling you, if you want to be inside my brain and pretend like we're having a cup of coffee together, and you're like, hey, Britt, what's your focus this week? That's what it is, right? And so I share it with you. That helps me break down what my focus is today. So what's my focus this month? Well, I kind of shared it with you. What's my focus this week? Well, I'm going to be definitely following up with people and inviting people. I really want to push for SC5 by the 5th. That's always the way I start a month strong, is just really honing in on how can I hit Success Club as soon as possible at the top of the month, right? That just builds confidence for everything else I do the rest of the month. But I'm also really focusing on relationship building this week, especially. And so today, that's what it's about. I just want people to feel a breath of fresh air when I'm around them today. And so that's how I approached my social media. That's how I approached connections and expanding and posting, right? What are the key pieces that I need to share and when? So knowing your focus, okay, so knowing that, I know that towards the end of this week, I want to be ready to share my transformation from 9-week control freak. I'm already thinking about, what do I want to say? How do I want to say it? What am I trying to drive home, right? And so understanding those key pieces, when I sit down to work, I have a game plan. I know what I'm doing. I don't just sit down to work and say, God, I hope somebody joins me today, right? So showing up with intention lets people know what to expect. When are your hours? When are you available? Do they know this? Do you answer every message the second it comes through? I know I used to. And while that's exciting because somebody said they want information and you're like, oh my God, I'm gonna like pee myself. I'm so excited. They want information. It's also important that you have boundaries around this, because if they send that at 11 p.m. and then you're just like, yes, what do you need from me? Are those the hours that you work? I mean, if it is, that's cool. But for me, like if I answered something at 11 p.m., the next question that person should ask is, are you okay, Britt? Because I should be in bed at that time, right? So when are your hours? When is your audience most engaged too? Do you know this? If you have a business account, you can see insights. And so I highly recommend doing a business account. You can see your insights. So I can see when my audience is engaged. I can see when they're on social media. I can see what posts are doing better than other posts. I can see all of those things, and I can learn from it. What content do your people expect from you? So again, like I said, political content isn't something that people tend to see from me. They're not going to see like a CNN article, and they're not going to see me talk about like who I voted for or anything like that. They're going to expect content from me that is inspiring, that includes a message, even if it's messy. They're going to expect content that's going to maybe stretch them to grow and evolve. They're going to expect content that has recipes. They're going to expect content that has fitness. And at this point now, as we've transitioned in this house, my brand has shifted, because even a year ago, you wouldn't have really gotten home decor. You wouldn't have gotten designer Brit, right? You wouldn't have gotten HGTV Brittany. No, you wouldn't have, because I wasn't in that season yet. And now that I'm here, I'm able to bring another part of my life into it that I wasn't able to truly share before. People would expect teaching stuff from me back in the day. Guess what? I lost a lot of followers after I left the classroom. Why? Because I wasn't giving them what they wanted. I wasn't giving the same value. That's okay. I'm not in the classroom anymore, so I don't have to pretend like I am. What type of posts are you most known for? And do you have like themed days to help you? Because if this is all really overwhelming and you're like, I don't know what content they can expect, and I don't know what types of posts I'm known for, like none of the above, I want you to relax, and I want you to think, what do you want to say? What do you want to be known for? What are the things you're interested in? And not a lot, just a handful, maybe 5 things you can count on your hand. And then maybe in this season, it's better to theme the days. So every Monday, your audience knows I'm going to talk about something motivational on a Monday. I'm going to give a quote. I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to talk about my journey using that quote as a catalyst or a journal prompt for the rest of it. Maybe on Tuesdays, you're always sharing a recipe. Maybe on Wednesdays, you always share workout moves of the day. Maybe on Thursday is when you share, your love for dog walking. I don't know, right? But each day it might help you if you broke it down into the theme, so that it's not so overwhelming, so that you look down at your planner and you say, okay, today's Monday. I know that it's going to be something about this, right? The other thing with intention is, do your people who are following you know how to do the next right thing? People have to be spoon-fed, my friends. You will learn this in this business if you have not learned this yet. People need to be spoon-fed and handheld until they're really ready to fly. Not everybody's a unicorn like you. So do they know how to do the next right thing? Meaning, are you providing them like like I literally put arrows to exactly what I want them to do. You know what I mean? Like, are you doing that in your stories? Are you telling them to drop a heart? Are you telling them to that your link is in the bio? Are you telling them share this or bookmark this? Calls to actions, like literally telling your people how to do the next right thing that you want them to do is everything. Okay. So that's intention. Value. What value are you bringing? There's a book called Jab, 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 Right Hook. It's a very good book. And the premise of this book, I'll just give you the, cliff notes, is that for a jab is value. Okay. So your jabs are, I'm giving a recipe, I'm giving motivation. I showed 3 workout moves that they can try when they only have 20 minutes. I gave value, value, value. And then the right hook is like the knock them out punch. Yeah. Which is the call to action. It's the now I gave. Now I want something from you. And a call to action doesn't always have to be a sale, you guys, but a call to action could be just something you want them to do, right? Like bookmark this recipe for later. That's also value. That's an example of value and a right hook. You're doing both together. Okay. But the idea is you do not, if you go into your social media right now and you look at your last 9, have you given value? You know what I mean? And we'll look at that together here in a second. But I want you to make sure that it's not just all call to action, that there's value throughout, right? And the last part of the VIP experience on your social media is your personality. So I want you to ask yourself, how do you have fun in your business? What excites you to show up? When I was a teacher, it was just fun for me to come home and create. I just loved creating. And so I'd create groups and I'd create themes and I'd create graphics for it and I'd create the content. And I just loved it so much that I was so excited about what I had just created that I couldn't help but invite other people to it. It's like I spent all this time. It's like if you did this crazy puzzle that was so challenging for you, wouldn't you share about it? Wouldn't you be like, hey, look at my puzzle, I just did this, right? So the same thing, I was so excited about everything I created for my sisterhood that I couldn't help but say, look at this, join me, like you can do this too, right? And so I think that's why I encourage you guys to start your own bod groups, because when you have ownership, Andrea, I don't know if she's on this call, I can't see her on my thing right now, I think she is, but Andrea, the only word I told her in January, we sat down for a one-on-one, and I looked her square in the face on Zoom and I said, Andrea, I need you to take ownership of your business. She did it. Started hosting Zooms on Sundays for people who wanted to try out the workouts. She started creating, she created her own community and started creating content and all the graphics for it. And just, it changed. Things shifted. And because she was having fun and she was excited about the things she was sharing, it wasn't like, oh, my coach is doing this group and like, so you can join it too if you want to. It wasn't like that. It was like, no, I'm doing this thing. I made it. It's amazing. I know because I made it. And y'all want in on this, right? Like it's a different energy. And she showed up like that. And you guys hit Success Club for the very first time. Like, yes, that's what it's about, ownership. Okay. So think, when you show your personality, it helps build trust and form relationships. Again, on the National Wake Up Call, it was so good this morning. I couldn't have said it better myself. She talked about tone and inflection. And if you get on there and you're like, hey guys, we're doing a group for March and it's going to be really good. And I've been doing the workouts and just let me know if you want more information. Like that's totally different than coming on there and building imperfect personality. One of the pro tips I'll give you down here, I'll give it already, is to stay busy. And I talked, again, back to Andrea, I talked with Andrea a lot about this in one-on-ones, that when you're doing a video, I do not need you to hold the video, pose perfectly, and recite off of the notes that you took that you have right next to your phone that's propped up, right? Like when it is scripted, I can tell and I don't trust you, right? Like what if I talked like that for the last 38 minutes? I just talked like that. You guys would be like, Britt, right? But the way I talk to you is the way I'm going to talk to you when we hang out together too. And so when you see me at Summit, there's no disconnect. That's why when Kristen and Leia saw each other in the airport, it was like they were best friends that were reunited. You guys, they'd never met each other. And they had to sleep inches apart and shower in the same bathroom. Like, what? How weird is that? It's not. It's because they know each other and the trust and the formation of relationship because of this right here, personality and speaking and getting excited and being vulnerable and real and raw, right? So make the shift from what, this is a big thing. What is a lot of times what new coaches start with, and it'll get you far until it doesn't get you far. You start by saying what you're doing. Like, I'm doing this workout. I'm, and you show the clips. I'm drinking the shake, and you show yourself making it. And I'm, on a team call, and all you do, by the way, shameless plug here. Has anybody recorded a clip for their social media yet talking about coaching tonight? Make sure you do that before this call is over. That's so important. Right? Versus waiting for me to share my screenshot, because I won't have a video recording because I can't do that at the same time. I'm just not there yet in my talents. But then you share it, it just doesn't come off the same as if you're like, okay, I just got off a team call and mind blown, right? Making the shift from what you're doing instead to who you're doing it with, who you're doing it for, why you're doing it, and how you're doing it. This is huge, you guys. So instead of talking about what you're doing, the team you're on, the boot camp you're in, the program you're doing, the shake you're drinking, the book you're reading, like instead of doing all that, I want you to talk about who do you love to work with? Who on your team have you celebrated in your stories today? Who in your sisterhood have you celebrated in your stories today? Who is benefiting from what you're doing? And remember, you can ride on the coattails of other people until you maybe have those. So if you don't know who to celebrate, newsflash, I just shared today's graphic on the team page of all the February Success Club earners. You could totally get out there and shout out your fellow teammates, right? Who's benefiting? I don't know, go into any boot camp that you're in right now and see someone who said something. For example, my girl Tammy today came in and talked about how she's on vacation. And normally on vacation, she would drink and she would not work out. And here she is, not drinking and working out. Death to old self. I love it because she's evolving. She's benefiting. And so the person watching that's like, dang, I go on vacation and all I do is drink and all I do is give up on my goals and I don't work out when I'm on vacation. I'd rather be like that person. Looks like she's benefiting. I want to be the person that's benefiting. It makes them become the hero. Why are you a coach? Instead of tonight sharing what you love about the call, share why you love it. Right? Why are you doing 9-week control freak? Have you told people why you did it? Why do you meal prep on Sundays? Why do you walk your dog every afternoon? I don't know. Like you got to tell the why behind things. And then how can other people be the hero of your story? So when you craft stories on social media, like you guys did such an amazing job when you talked about the other week when we talked about I remember when. You remember that exercise, that journal prompt, that post prompt? The cool part about that prompt is it allowed other people to be the hero. You wrote your story and you talked about what you used to do that was not healthy and what has changed and shifted as the solution, right? But because you shared relatable moments from your journey, other people were able to read that through the lens of themselves. So you kind of are the hero, but people get to be the hero alongside of you. Like, oh my gosh, I used to do that too, right? That's the kind of connection you want with people. So like I said, how can you speak? How can you post? How can you, craft content so others can see themselves doing what you are doing? For everyone out there who does this along another job, I envy you greatly. truthfully, because I would love to be able to daily share how I am doing this alongside of that. Because so many people tell me, oh, well, you just have all day. So that's why you're successful. I'm too busy, right? Like they don't know old me. So I have to keep painting that picture of what that used to look like, right? But if you're living that right now, what a freaking gift. What a gift. Because you get to show them your power pocket. You get to show them how you're choosing, instead of gossiping at the water cooler, you're going to go sit in your car and work on your boot camp and check in with your girls, right? Instead of hitting snooze, this is what you're going to do because you don't have time because you got to get out the door. But you know, it's so much, the day is so much better when you start it that way, right? Talking about, man, I remember when I used to get on Zooms, they weren't Zooms really, they were actually like dial-in phone calls with my coach back in the day. I'm dating myself right now. But we'd get in like dial-up phone calls and I would fall asleep. Like I'd wake up and the phone would be like on my chest because I was so tired. And we didn't have stories at that time, so it wasn't like a thing where I could like document in real time like that. But man, I wish I was falling asleep on this call right now so I could wake up and be like, I got on anyway, even though I was freaking tired, right? And talk about what I'm doing and how I'm making it work. And then so we kind of touched on this in the beginning, but are you speaking? Do I know what you sound like? When you come to Summit with me, like, let's just pray to the Summit gods that it is on this year. But regardless, the next live event, when I see you there and I hug you, and then we step away and you say your first words to me, am I even gonna know what your voice sounds like? Or is it gonna creep me out a little bit? They're like, I've actually never heard her voice before. I need to know what you sound like. First of all, selfishly for myself, but also because those people aren't gonna be building trust with you if they don't know what you sound like. So one thing I love to do is I stay busy. I call it staying busy while I talk in my stories. So I do something else. Andrea did a great example of this the other day where she was cooking dinner and she talked while she was cooking dinner. She was talking about, I think it was last week, talked about how she was getting on her team call here in a second, that she was going to work her coaching business. She got off her 9 to 5, but she's got this other side business that she's super passionate about and she loves helping other women, right? And she needed to plug in some work time before she called it quits for the day to be with John. And she like was cooking and stirring and like sauteing and like telling this story at the same time. And it wasn't perfect. And I loved it because of that. Because simultaneously, I'm like, I wonder what she's making. I wonder what this coaching thing is. I wonder what she does. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm thinking about a bunch of things. And so there's more ammo for me to come into her inbox with versus if she's just sitting there scripted trying to tell me about her team call tonight, right? So stay busy. How can you stay busy? I love to make my energize and talk in the mornings, right? Even if it's as simple as walking and talking, right? Walk from one room to the next room while you're doing it. So like you're moving. It makes it more relaxed. Like I know you. You know what I mean? So let's do a not so quick because it's already 1:45, but let's do a not so quick or quick Instagram audit. Okay. I want you to make this shift from what you're doing, right? The look at me to more about the who, the why, and the how other people can join you. So let me grab my phone behind me. We'll do this together. And this is important that as we do this, that you kind of jot down where there are no's. Because then what you can do is if there's a no on one of these, you can put that on your to-do list this week of, okay, I don't have that yet. And I really want to work on that and make sure like that's up to speed. Okay. So first and foremost, go to we can be on Instagram and hang out over there. I think most of us use Instagram. So let's hang out there. This really can pertain to the way you show up on Facebook though too, and other platforms. Number one, do you have a link in your bio that serves a purpose? If you don't have a link in your bio, my next question would be, how the heck can someone get a hold of you to join you in some capacity if they don't have anywhere to go other than your inbox? There will be people who are too embarrassed to message you. We're dealing with like real, raw human things, you guys, like shameful things, right? Like when people aren't feeling good in their skin, there is shame around that. We're shame breakers. It's amazing what we do. But you have to understand that in order for them to start, they have to break through that first level. And most people aren't going to do that by reaching out to you. So if you have a link in your bio, it's an easy way, number one, to direct people to something you want them to do. Remember, intention, right? But it's also another way for people to get a hold of you without having to message you directly. It's kind of that like non-threatening thing. I personally have a link that takes them to, I use Linktree, which you can, it's a free service. You can do it too. And I change it up. This works for me. It works wonderfully for me. Okay. I have on here a free group if I'm running it at the time. I have my newsletter that people can join me with. I have my Google form that people fill out when they want to join the sisterhood, a form that they can fill out if they want to join me as a coach. And then I have my Amazon favorites listed too. You don't need all this, but you definitely probably need at least something, whether it's a way to join your group, or it's a free group and it directs them, the link takes them over to Facebook to maybe where your free group's at, right? You need something. So you don't have to start with everything, but start with something. Also, notice that I said it has to serve a purpose. I don't just need you to have a link on your bio to have a link on your bio. It should serve a purpose, meaning I want people to go there. I want people to fill this form out. Okay. Do people know what you're about when they arrive on your page? There are so many different ways to do this nowadays, and I'm not going to tell you one way is better than another or anything like that. What I want to know though is when I get to this page right here and I look at this first part, this info section, do people know what you're about? People will decide if you're like, I'm having such a hard time growing my following. It's good. It's good news. You want to hear the good news? It's all your fault. Did you hear me? It's all your fault. That's the good news. If people aren't following you, it's because when they arrive on your page, either you look salesy, or you don't look like their tribe, or you the info, like, I don't know, like there's something about your page that's causing them in a second. They do this in a second, you guys. They decide, do I want to follow this person? So if you're like, man, I've been following so many people and I'm trying, but no one follows me back, you've got to look at you. Are you the kind of person that these people want to follow back? Second or third, is it aesthetically pleasing? Okay, you guys might, you might love me, you might hate me when I say this. Instagram is a visual platform. It's visual. People decide if they like your post visually. They don't usually read it to decide if they like it. They usually see it first to decide if they like it. Same thing with your page. When you get to your page, is it dark? Are the pictures really dark and dim and I can't really see what it is? There's so many ways to improve on this. The best way, you guys, is presets. And if you're not using presets, presets are a way that it's kind of like a filter sort of thing that you lay on top that give your pictures the proper lighting, the proper balance, the proper shading, right? They're created by people who are smart with photography, okay? So you don't have to be. And then you just smack that. If you ever go to Annie's page and you're like, man, I love how Annie's photos are just so bright and airy. She uses presets. Get on it. And if you're like, I'm not using presets because I'm having a hard time learning about it, guys, do not let your own learning get in the way of you evolving. Currently, I'm doing Instagram trainings because I need to like get next level right now because something is not working for me. And I know this. So I'm literally in a course right now for Instagram. Okay. You're never too like, don't let your lack of knowledge stop you from evolving, right? Aesthetically pleasing also, again, it's like the variety of pictures. So in your top 9 to 12 pictures, let's do this right now. Let's do that audit together. Look at your top 9 to 12 pictures, that first grid, basically, when someone sees, they don't even have to scroll. That's just what they see. Is it you? Is it everything that when you're like, these are the things that make me tick. This is what I love. This is what I like to share. This is what I'm good at. This is what I'm an expert at, right? This is what I'm confident in. Is it showing that or not? Every once in a while, I'm looking at my first 9 here, you guys, and for what it's worth, I don't have a recipe. Dang it. I need a recipe. That's something people follow me for, right? They like my recipes. So when I look at this first 9, I'm like, well, Britt, level up. You got to put a recipe out there, right? And so I can constantly audit myself. Now I want you to go through your 9 and I want you to look 9 through number 1 and see, is it value? Are you giving that value? Are you entertaining? Are you educating? Are you empowering people? Is it all call to actions? Do you have 9 call to actions? Join my boot camp, join my boot camp, join my boot camp. It's too much, right? In 9, maybe you should have 2 at most, tops, right? Is the caption, they call it copy too, is that showcasing that you're confident in these areas? Same thing. People are going to do business with you if they believe that you can solve their problem. Okay. And so this month, I want this to be the month that you start to say, okay, I can help people. I have the tools to help people. I'm confident in what I bring to my boot camp. And then allow your voice to showcase that you're confident, right? When I talk on my social, I wasn't like, well, guys, happy March. I hope that this month is better than last month. Right? Like, no, I'm an expert in what it takes to have a fresh start and a new beginning and to tell you, like, and to root you on and get you back up. Like, I am confident that I can tell you that. And so I write like that. Okay. Do you have an active story daily? There's a new feature. I don't know if it's a feature on accounts that aren't business accounts or not. I can't speak to that, but I know for me, I can see my archive of my stories. And they've got a feature where when you click the middle of your archive, I'll show you how to get there. Let me not pretend like I think everybody knows this. So when I'm on my home page here and I click the 3 lines in the top right corner, the second thing down has a little clock with an arrow and it says archive. When I click on that, it shows me all of my stories. And the other day I was like, what happens when I click on the calendar in the middle? There's like a little calendar thing in the middle. See it there? And when I click on that calendar, something really cool pops up. It shows me every day that I've posted stories. If it'll ever load. There it goes. And it was really cool to see. Every day that you see like an image there, I've posted on my story. Didn't miss a day in February. Didn't miss a day in January. Didn't miss a day in December. And I thought back, I was like, you know, I'm interested. I want to go back in time. And so I actually went back like all the way back to when stories first started to see, have I been consistent on stories like since the dawn of time? The answer is yes. I want that for you too. Okay. Here's the cool thing about stories. They are not the thing that will build your following. They are not the thing that will build new followers and new growth, but they are the thing that your people who follow you get to see a taste of you. So it's really important. We can't rely solely on our stories to build our network. It just doesn't work that way. But we can rely on our stories to build that trust through our personality. And I'll say it until I'm blue in the face. Can I hear your voice? Can I hear your voice? Can I hear your voice? Today, go to your stories, watch your active stories, do yourself a little audit favor and watch your active stories and figure out, can I hear your voice today? If not, fix that today. Are you replying back to every comment on your post? Are you connecting with those people who are watching and engaging with you? These are important ways to build relationships and shift from what you're doing to who's watching you and how they can join you, right? By building that connection. So how did we do on this audit? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 categories.